in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. It's a record for Ireland, but you can listen to the crowd here, no doubt. They were behind the Samoans, and they put it up to Ireland tonight. Ireland had to fight, but they showed the fight. They showed character in getting back into the fight. But I can tell you, they'll forget about this game as quickly as possible. They got out of dodge, as you said, and it's onwards and upwards now in terms of the real thing. The shadow boxing is over now. It's all about 2 weeks' time. Romania up the road in Bordeaux, and that can't come soon enough for this group.
Tomorrow at 4:30 in the Shelbourne Hotel, Andy Farrell will name his final 33-man squad, but this squad here have done the job just about. Ireland 17, Samoa 13. Dara, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Hugh and Donal. I'd say you can't wait to get out either. A very, very ugly win, but we got a different type of evening than the one we anticipated, I think. It was all about anticipation leading into that. It's now relief, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it's good to get the result. A good win, I suppose. Andy Farrell was probably seeing some images. Certain players probably didn't do themselves justice, but, it was scrappy at times, especially the first half, tricky conditions. But a few senior players come on and steady the ship, and it made the world of difference, and we were able to eke out the victory in the end. So it's definitely loads to improve on, and we have the time to do it. So it's not the end of the world, but I'm sure Andy Farrell will be looking forward to that Monday review.
Yeah, I mean, it was a battle. I mean, it was the Battle of Bayonne without the illegal violence, but Ireland came out the right side of it. And the thing about that, it's probably consigned to the memory bank in a week or two now, whereas if they'd gone down to Samoa, it's one that sticks with the squad. It sticks there as a black mark.
In a strange way, it's the perfect game, isn't it? It scares them enough to realise that if you take your foot up, if you're not brilliant with your kind of basics that we talk about a lot, but that includes the scrum, the line out, entry points into the game. You don't force it. You play the conditions. You play the team that's in front of you. It shouldn't take the more senior players to come onto the field to steady the ship to a certain degree.
Well, just on that, because the whole narrative leading into this was that we were over the problem that derailed previous World Cup attempts, that the strength and depth was now there. Does that go against that?
I think the players that started the game were probably not as confident at being on the plane to France as the guys maybe on the bench for a lot of the players, and they potentially forced it to a certain degree. Just the nature of the game and the fact that they're calling the squad out tomorrow, but they should have tried to play the conditions first and not force it. Play a bit of territory. Brilliant basic. They were doing actually really good basics around the ruck, but not forcing passes, not forcing the game, because they were a better side. In the second half as well, you probably saw the conditioning coming through from the Irish side as well.
Arguably saved. Well, I suppose the bench being emptied and that superior conditioning, which you would expect from players who are in camp. Cohesively a lot more than the opposition.
What would concern me is, particularly in the last 5 minutes there, was how easily Samoa worked themselves down into outside Ireland's 5 minute
possession was cheap though because of the conditions, I suppose.
Yeah, but it was really basic. It was big men running hard, and you can be sure South Africa and other big teams are going, oh, okay, this is what plan A should be against Ireland.
Okay, well, we know Fiji beat England earlier, so I mean we were a little complacent.
Conor,
maybe in terms of punditry, people were complacent. I'm not saying in this room, but you couldn't accuse Ireland of ever being complacent. They're just not that type of outfit. But did they deprioritise this match to some extent?
No, I don't think so. I think Jamie summed it up exactly in that. You had a lot of guys in that first half who were trying to, play as individuals, to put their hand up to make sure that they got on the plane to go to France, and they probably didn't play the conditions as they should have, and then that's why we led to having so many errors. We're trying to run the ball when it's not on. Second half, you see the likes of the experienced lads coming on who know they're going. So Peter O'Mahony coming on, James Ryan, Rob Herring had an excellent game, I thought. And I thought the way that they shored up their line out, that had a huge effect on the game. I think Ross Byrne coming on as well, Gary Ringrose, they all had a big effect coming in. And I think it's probably just that those guys had a little bit more confidence that they knew they were going and they could just play play the right thing in front of them rather than what might be the flash play.
Okay.
So I thought, it was an ugly game. It was horrible to watch, but Ireland showed a huge amount of character in the second half to come back in that game. And Samoa aren't mugs; they're a good team.
Yeah, that was clear. I mean, every 4 years you get the cooking thermometer out. Is it like sushi or is it overcooked, undercooked? I never know. What do you reckon? medium rare.
Yeah, close. A lot of credit has to go to Samoa. They brought line speed and made it really difficult for Ireland. And the conditions certainly played a part, but this is what these games are for. They're supposed to get you to build a rhythm, build your connections, build momentum going into the World Cup. You don't want to be firing on all cylinders 3 games out or 2 games out. You want to have stuff to work on and to focus on leading into your first game. And there's a lot of players there playing who were in decent form, but as we just saw, opposition like Samoa really tested us, and we have a lot to work on, but still exciting, you know. We're not by no means, you know, mugs now all of a sudden. It wasn't the cleanest of performances, but at the same time, there's clear points that we need to get better at.
Yeah, and look, Cian Healy, we didn't speak about yet because I suppose we were all absorbed in seeing whether Ireland would get over the line. So what do you get? All this old question is always the same. What do you get out of this? But like, that was a unique enough experience. I think there was something there. I don't know. Can you put your finger on? There was something there for Ireland to take away from that, as Jerry said. Like, it was a game that could have got away.
Yeah, very easy. Like, so firstly, they keep momentum going. They've gotten the win, which is
they're still number 1 in the world. I believe,
which is always nice. Yeah. But like they've gotten momentum, so they still have that confidence. The game has probably scared them enough that when they're doing the review, a lot of them will be reviewing that game on the flight home now, or whenever they're flying back, and in the Monday morning review. You can be sure of that, and there's plenty there for them to work on. Hopefully there's not too many hurt bodies as well, but you get match fitness into a lot of guys, you get minutes into their legs. They can be really fit in pre-season, but you know, you need games under your belt to get up to that speed. You need to get up to that match, that test speed, that time on the ball that you just can't really do in training. So they're the main takeaways for me in it. And also enough of a shock that when they look back over the games of the weekend, they'll look, I don't want to labour the point, but they'll look at the South Africa game yesterday and they'll look at how easily, at times when Samoa were very direct, that they kind of made big inroads into the team, into the Irish team. So they'll have to look at that defensively as well.
Was that not a problem that was solved, at least in the public perception, with the 2 away wins in New Zealand last year? It looked like that Ireland were in no way a team that could be run through, no matter what the physicality. I accept New Zealand aren't as physical as South Africa. Is that now an issue again?
No, I don't think so. No, I think Samoa are a good side, and they're very physical, so they'll test anything that they play when in terms of being direct and carrying. I think the difference for Ireland is what they'll take from this game is, like Jamie said exactly, is that like it tested us, and also the fact that they can go, well, now we've had to play under really poor conditions, and we've shown that when our line-out doesn't function right, that's something that we've got to really prioritise, because they fixed it in the second half, and it was a huge difference. But like, they played the first game against Italy, lovely dry ball, firm pitch, no real wind. The same against England. So to have that game is good prep. It's good prep. It will keep them humble going into the World Cup, like you said, keep them grounded, and I think that they can take a lot out of it. And you know, I think someone like Ryan Baird really put his hand up tonight. I think Rob Herring really made a big difference in terms of those guys that are maybe on the bubble a little bit about getting on the plane to France, but I think they were excellent.
So on the other hand then, I suppose the negatives could be more individual performances, guys who wouldn't be entirely happy with that 80 minutes, and there's a few of them, we'll be honest. Yeah,
a couple. No names that stand out, I suppose, but judging off the first half, potentially game management just around when to kick and when not to, and when to potentially force that extra pass. You know, the mindset of when the conditions are this bad, one extra ruck. You know, you don't have to force it that immediate phase. And just the game management, I thought we kicked well at times, but it just wasn't consistent enough. And we saw when the senior players came in to steady the ship, that was definitely a focus point. Maul, back to basics, maul, corner, try, maul. You know, the stuff I love, and I'm very good at it.
Yeah. Is it a default excuse though in terms of conditions? Because we've seen about the dry ball that Ireland has this kind of machine-like precision, and when it looks, you know, when it works, it looks fantastic. It's short passing, precise. That wasn't a night for tonight. But was it half time that saved us? Because the second half was a different type of approach.
Look, they all play in Ireland. They're well used to playing in the rain, right? I think it was more what's online for them, trying to force to play the way Ireland. We're so used to Ireland playing a certain way, but like as Fla said, it's lashing rain, lads. you know, it's not a day for throwing it around. We need to get our entry points into the game really clean. We need to leverage our maul, grind it out, get a bit more territory and possession on the game. When it's not going well, you got to go back to your basics, and the basics Ireland do really well is scrum, line out, get the maul set up, and then kick for possession and territory. But the guys, you know, I'm looking down through the team here, and I'm kind of going like, McCluskey probably won't be delighted with it. In terms of how he's performed, Ryan Baird has probably pushed Keane Prendergast out. Jerry Lockman, I don't know if he was solid. He was under pressure in the first couple of scrums that he was on, and then he shored it up. So then he fixed it. But you know, if
Stockdale had a cameo or two.
Stockdale was okay, but again, like I think that's dependent now on how Jimmy O'Brien is in terms of the pecking order. So a lot of guys will be you know, squeaky bum time for them coming home now in terms of if they're going to get called out tomorrow.
Dara, I think the biggest thing that we take from this game is the Cian Healy injury. That is really worrying for me, because we saw how good South Africa were, and we know that they'll have their bomb squad. They'll be making massive changes. Have a really, you know, they'll have almost a full set of forwards ready to go for the second half. So we're going into this World Cup now. We had Andrew Porter, we had Cian Healy, had Dave Kilcoyne. You know, they're guys with massive experience. You can't ask Andrew Porter to go and play 80 minutes against the Springboks. So if Cian Healy is out, if Dave Kilcoyne is out, then we've really, you know, there's a big onus on Jeremy Loughman, and it's putting a lot of pressure on a guy who's not been exposed to that level as often as someone like Cian Healy is. You know, that's the big one for me. I think that's. If I was Andy Farrell, that's what would worry me the most.
It's a huge hole, isn't it?
Yeah. That's going to be a challenge for Ireland.
Yeah. Like assuming Cian Healy doesn't make it, as we know, his powers of recovery, proven for a decade and a half, have been incredible. We don't know, but body language didn't look good, and we hear he's in a moon boot and crutches. But again, what do you read from that?
Look, we can't.
We can't.
It's going to be, you know, he's got what has he got? He's got 38 players. He's got it cut 5 right now from the squad, and he's got some headaches as well to manage on the injury front. Knowing them, he'll get them back straight away. They'll get whoever's doubtful, get them scanned straight away and get a definite answer. Then it becomes a question of, considering the way the games are, you know, you've got Romania,
Tonga
into Tonga, you know, do you take the risk on players that maybe are only going to be fit in 3 weeks, that maybe fit in 3 to 4 weeks time, and you bring them? Or not, you know, that there's some interesting
just on
that.
Does it introduce the kind of the spectre of kind of 2007 and matches against Namibia and Georgia, and the fact that like maybe Andy Farrell did want to say, you know, I have a kind of a A/B team for those first 2 matches, but can you take a chance? We see when a team gets momentum like Samoa did today, they can actually grow. They can grow much more of a threat within the 80 minutes. It's the World Cup, especially that first match, I suppose, on paper. Romania are the easiest, aren't they?
Yeah, it'll test your depth. The World Cup always tests your depth, but I was happy, I suppose, not happy, but it's good to have a game like that where the conditions are tough, the opposition are incredibly direct and physical, and you can, you know, there's a fine line between playing too much or kicking too much. And at times we're probably guilty of potentially just playing a little bit too much, but that's what these games are for, so you can find your groove and know when the right option is on or when it's the right time to kick. So even though it wasn't clean, I think having a game like that with those conditions at this time was good for Ireland, you know.
Okay, just 100% kind of honesty as ever, Jerry. Before that match and after, anything changed for you about Ireland's World Cup prospects? I know you've mentioned Cian Healy, like.
Yeah, listen, I think we're still in a good place going into the World Cup. Injuries are going to happen every single team going into the World Cup. The worry I have going in is Cian Healy, is our depth at loose head now. That is the major one. But I think that it's another step forward. It's a win in a messy game that we probably didn't manage well in the first half. That's the bit that's disappointing. You would want the players ideally to be able to fix that on the field. You want your playmakers to say, all right, the conditions aren't great here. Okay, I know I need to maybe get to the kick a little bit earlier. than like maybe playing an extra couple of phases, because the ball was so greasy, there was so many knock-ons, and the fact that it took half time and maybe a couple of personnel changes to fix their line-out as well. That's concerning. You want the players to be able to fix things in the moment when they start to go wrong. But that is not our first choice team that was out tonight, and there's conditions are a big equaliser as well. The fact that Jamie made the point, guys are trying to play their way onto the team, so
there's
they may have
a unique set of circumstances to a degree in a match like that.
But otherwise, we're still in a really good place going into this World Cup.
Cool. Okay, let's hear from Conor Murray. I think we can take a few words with him now.
Conor, congratulations, you're the Bank of Ireland player of the match. You got across the line out there, but it was a strange game, wasn't it? There was weather, there was errors, it was scrappy. What was it like to play in?
Yeah, all of that. We were ready for it. Like, we knew the conditions were going to be difficult. It's very hard straight after game to sum it up, but I think, first half we actually did a few good things. We said at half time we were doing a few things pretty well, just struggled to get a foothold in the game, get territory, and Samoa are a brilliant side when you give them loose ball, and we probably coughed up too many loose balls, too many turnovers, and and they'll punish you. So yeah, they were credit to them, but we probably left a few chances out there, particularly probably set piece wise in the first half. We got into their 22 a couple of times, just didn't manage to execute for whatever reason, and we're usually a lot better in those areas. And if a few of them come off in the first half, it's a different game. But credit to Samoa, they stuck in, made us really, really fight for the win today. And we can be happy the way we grounded out and we dig deep for each other. But look, we got the result, and we'll have plenty to review on Monday, I imagine.
Was there sort of nervousness, I suppose, with the squad announcement just imminent and everything? Was that sort of sense of it as well?
A lot of people say that to you, but that's when you get injured, when you're nervous or you're trying to mind yourself. So no, look, like I said, Samoa, we played them many times in my career, and they're always a tough test, and we had the utmost respect for them, and they brought a serious game today, and lads really played their heart out today, and like I said, we'll have a lot to review on Monday, but we grounded out and we got the win in the end. But it was a tough day.
Yeah, the warm-ups are done now. You'll be back in France next week. The tournament is finally in sight. Is that a relief?
Yeah, it's exciting. Squad hasn't been named yet, so everyone out there tonight tried to put their best foot forward, and I think we can be proud of how we stuck together. And it's that stadium is really tough. The crowd are on top of you. A lot of Samoan support out there tonight, and pretty hostile is what it's going to be like in France. So a good test. We would have liked to have played a little bit better, but the way we stuck together like a proper team was definitely pleasing.
Thanks, Conor. Well done.
Cheers. Thank you.